Welcome to Build with Rob. I am Rob Dyrdek. You know what it is. CEO and founder of the Dyrdek Machine. What are we doing down here? We're manufacturing amazing. How are we doing it? We're systematically fusing art, science, and magic. Why? Because we love this. We're fueled by the joy of creation. We love creating companies. We love creating amazing life. And on this show, that's what we do. Talk life strategy, business strategy, if you're an entrepreneur, both in spirit and in actuality, then this is a show for you. We talk to people and do or die founders that we build companies with, along with people that pitch us ideas and have questions that I can, help them strategize, whether that is in life or with their business. And, one big thing that I'm always out here talking about, and it's this start at the end mentality. It's this before you start win concept. And, I'd like to go a little bit deeper to just sort of lay out kind of the layers of why that's important, that go a step beyond just being focused and having clear sort of goals as it relates to what you want to achieve monetarily, right? It ends up being much, much bigger than that when you think about it multidimensionally, right? Because as a founder, when you want to create a company, you want to build a business, I say start at the end, decide what you want out of the company in the very beginning, right? You want to build a $10 million business that has $2 million in profit that you split with 3 other partners, and that's the money you're going to live off of, right? Like, I'm going to build a growth company, and my goal is to take on venture capital and grow it to 10 million in revenue, and this would be easily acquired for 3 to 4 times revenue, and then I'm going to have, 20% by the time that happens, and that's the money that I'm going to go and fish for the rest of my life, whatever your vision is. But it goes a little bit deeper when you're making that plan, right? Because there's this sort of world where it's like, as an entrepreneur, you sacrifice for a few years to live like nobody else will for the rest of their life, and I don't think that that's ultimately necessary, right? Like, you want to sacrifice with purpose inside your plan, if you will, on what you hope to actually get out of this business in all aspects. And let me explain how that kind of works when you're thinking about building a company and what you want out of it, right? It's what do you also want to do in that company? Are you the creative person? Are you the financial mind? Are you the operating mind, right? Like now it's about the amount of time you want to spend on this company, right? It's you making your life plan, and your goal isn't like, no entrepreneur is like, man, I want to get up at 4 every day and work till 9 and live the rest of my life running the company like that. Like, it's not sustainable. It's not fun. And it's not worth it. And it's not something you would ever want to do. If you do that, you have a bad business. If you get up at 4 and work till 9 every night, you have a bad idea. The idea isn't working. Or you don't know how to delegate and or hire the right people to put you in a position to be more balanced. But think about the time and the ideal state of how much you actually want to work and what do you want to do. If you're a creative person who loves being part of product development and brand stories and marketing stories, and you want to work 4 days a week from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock, that should be your goal. That should absolutely be your goal, because that's when you're working 4 a.m. to 9 p.m. in the first couple years. You know that the goal is eventually to transition to just doing what you love to do the most inside the company, and with a lot less hours once the company reaches a certain state of maturity. But that being part of your plan gives you patience and keeps you going when things get really tough, since you know where you're headed. Another start at the end concept that you would be using is how you want to spend your time in that company and ultimately what you want to do the most inside that company. And again, this would dictate, you know, what type of company that you build, like based off of that, what type of partners you would connect with to build the company with. Especially when it comes to the financial side, really understanding that, like, man, in a perfect world, I love the fitness industry. And if I could have a supplement company that allowed me to work out every day and work, 30 hours a week and have 30% of it and make $200,000 a year to live the way that I want to live and be able to spend a lot of my time and my passion of doing, CrossFit on the weekends and Ironmans or whatever it may be. There's a formula in there that you've got to design from the very beginning. And it applies to all aspects of who you are as a person, and because a lot of times it will even I think a lot of people are, mistaking my start at the end mentality for just, build the plan for the giant payday, and I think that's it is the way that I do it. Okay. Like since I walk on both sides where I need the thrill and the joy of co-finding a business and doing it at the very earliest stage, so that I can feel the thrill and I just like zero to me is like where it's the toughest place to start and it's the most fulfilling when there's success, but I'm still a venture capitalist. I'm still looking at like what is the return on my capital. Although I will look at ideas in different companies that are really based off of could be profitable just the same. But in general now, start at the end is not just about building the pathway to a big payday, because it's some people may not necessarily want that payday when they start. It might really truly be a passion project, and it may be something that grows over 10 or 15 years that then, they grow out of it or grow to a place where they would like to sell the business. But understanding that and building that into your start at the end plan is essential, because you want to get the business to a place to where it is automated and working, and you're doing what you love to do inside that business, and you're really enjoying it as fast as possible. That's your goal, right? It's, finding product market fit and then ultimately getting in a nice rhythm and then doing what gives you the most energy that you enjoy doing the most. And then, being strategic and either investing in growth when you see opportunity or continuing to nurture the consumers that you have to continue to build your sustainable business. But it's all of those things ultimately tie back to the type of life and the way that you want to live. And designing that into your overall plan is really what I mean when I talk about start at the end, and hey, if it is like I am going to work 4 a.m. to 9 p.m. for 3 years and get it to 30 million and sell it for 100, more power to you. I think I was, cut from that cloth at an earlier age. I think now for me, it's really how do you push everything into this automated state so it's more sustainable and takes less effort and it has more scalability. But I do all of that inside a balanced life, right? And that's because that's what I decided was what was more important to me as I grew my business and grew the machine and sort of grew into the entrepreneur, venture capitalist that I am today. But again, to everybody out there, you got to start at the end. You got to know where you're headed, why you're headed there, and figure out as much as possible in the very beginning, because it'll be so much easier for you as you begin to evolve and unfold into that business idea and knowing what you want out of it, both time, financially, emotionally, all of these different aspects are going to give you the patience that you need to push through and work hard and sacrifice, because you will know that you are headed to a place where it is going to be the perfect business for you the way you envisioned it at the very beginning. Okay, look, we got a great episode today, per usual. Just the hungry do-or-diers out there, just sharing ideas and ultimately, looking for advice on both their concepts and some strategy as it relates to life. And ultimately, my goal on this show is to try to give people that experienced eye and help give them a breakthrough. So without further ado, let's bring on our first guest.
Hey Rob and team, my name is Dr. CODY SANDZIMIER, and I am the creator and founder of Loop Timer. So I wanted to send a pitch video in. I've been listening to the podcast. I've been listening to your interview with Lewis Howes, and it just sparked something in me and fired me up. So I've actually been working on this for about 2 years now. It's kind of funny how this came about, and I want to talk to you about this in this pitch video. So basically what Loop Timer is, you really can't find any timers that don't let you know when the time is up via anything else but sound. It's just different levels or different variations of beeps and timers and things like that. And so what Loop Timer is, it's a timer that actually has a light around the outside, and when you actually set time on this and then time's counting down, it actually will tick down around the face. And then when time goes off, it lets you know via light. Now, this can be set to do light and or sound, any variation of those two, and this is what I've been working on. This is what I want to pitch you guys. This is called Loop Timer.
CODY SANDZIMIER, welcome to Build with Rob. How are you?
I live the dream every single day, my man.
Man, I love it. I mean, obviously you live the dream of highly functioning spines. You know what I mean? Hey, so look, give me a little bit of background on your concept, just briefly, as sort of an overview, and sort of the status of where you're at with it right now.
Yeah, so I decided to create this timer because it's a timer that basically has a light around the face. And so you can't really find timers that don't tell you when time's up with anything but sound. And so I thought that was really interesting. And so I developed it because as a chiropractor, we set people up on rehab, and they have weights and there's straps and all these kind of crazy torture chamber device looking things. And so when the timer goes off, my rehab techs were blowing past timers because they didn't know which one was going off. So I was like, I tried to find it, couldn't find it, so I made it. And so started about 2 years ago, and I've just been building ever since. I started off by going to Alibaba. I was like, timer companies, and talked to a manufacturer. Was like, hey, can you help me make this? And they're like, yeah, sure. Send over the 3D drawings. I was like, okay, cool. I need to get that. So I went on Fiverr and was like, 3D renderings. And then they were like, cool, I can do that. Send me the CAD drawings. I was like, okay, I should get that. So long story short, went to product development company and just started putting work in, just started developing it.
Hey, and the video presentation that you made was first class.
I appreciate it.
You know what I mean? All the way down to the nuance. This man, get all different types of videos when people submit videos, but the good doctor here was extraordinarily professional, had great music, but then the actual light from his timer was for the transitions. Yeah. It was the actual light going around with the transitions, which was really remarkable, Yeah. And look, when I look at the Loop Timer and think about it in concept, and I go and looked at all the Amazon offerings and sort of looking at sort of what products are available, kind of just getting an understanding of the market, and you really do see hey, there isn't anyone, there's just sort of the standard issue sort of way that it's sort of done, because it is a utility product, and so to me, I think on design alone that you have opportunity in the way that you've sort of created it and positioned it, but I ask you to think about it more from a perspective of the type of business and what its need would be in your life. right?
Sure.
You know, because I think when you think about you as a chiropractor, that's still sort of the priority, right, of your sort of life vision, right? And you're always going to continue to optimize how to run efficient practices that are
Mhm.
profitable, right?
Mhm.
And there'll be an expertise that's been built inside there, as opposed to you know, being a chiropractor and then you eventually want to run the biggest digital timer company in the history of
Sure.
mankind. Is your
Sure.
just correct me if your passion is being in chiropractic for the majority of your life.
So I think the passion is helping people, right?
Yeah.
So chiropractic is the vehicle in which I use that, and it's what I've developed my skills in. But I think, the broader picture is when it gets down to business concepts, right? I own a job, I don't own a business,
Yep.
right? If I'm not here, we're not making money. And so there's a scale issue and there's a shelf life with chiropractors, right? Blowout shoulder, low back, wrist issues. And so I need to have other things that I want to carry on with my life on and not just be in the trenches running every day. I think I'll always have a role in chiropractic. I have run multiple clinics, I've managed clinics, I've taught doctors, I've mentored doctors, and I think that's a passion of mine of helping the under generation grow up in the profession, learn how to run practices and help people, but also, spread my time out. And I think I love business in general. And I think chiropractic is the vehicle that I've used as of late.
Yeah, and look, and I can tell by the way you created it, your video, the way you talk, you really are. You're true do or die. You know what I mean? You're the real deal. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And to me, but when I look at this as a business, right?
Hmm.
Like, you know, just like I think you would be fooled to try to let the goal be that I want to build a $10 million business and sell it for 40 million, right?
Sure.
Like I just think it's and really that's like a full-time job that's building out a big team and really trying to like scale you know, product like lines and like where does it go to and how does it like okay, what's the sports one? All these different sort of things,
Sure.
right? Rather than like you know, the data shows you that the right product marketed to the right person, rather than
Mhm.
selling 1,000 units a day and making 10 million a year, if you could sell 1,500, 2,000 a month
Sure.
and make 500 grand and have one person running it to where you don't even got to put any
Sure.
effort into it, and that thing can kick off 200 grand to you, right?
Sure.
That is this like pathway for this that when I think about like you designing it as not necessarily the end all be all as it relates
Sure.
to the supplement to if something was to happen to
Mhm.
you physically and you couldn't practice, even though I'm sure you're smart enough to bring in other great you know, young chiropractors that you could teach and evolve and inside your world and or even help them create those standard sort of operating procedures that you would be able
Mhm.
to implement in their own clinic since nobody teaches business to anybody in the chiropractic field yet everybody's got to basically build their own clinic if they want to make money. It's a
Yep.
very bizarre
Yeah.
sort of aspect, but I just when you think about your idea, it really is something that's worth taking a shot,
Sure.
but it should be like, how do I drive this to sustainable revenue and then eventually put a body on it that can help grow it
Sure.
without the expectations of trying to get some sort of extraordinary scale, and then literally quit it overnight and take the loss if
Sure.
you can't start getting converting people from the existing Amazon timer base,
You're
right?
sure.
Because in my mind, you know, just like wordplay of like, you know, modern timer, like Apple style timer, like there's all these like keywords, search
Sure.
words return that I think you could win on just the way the product looks. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Then the value add um to the consumer ultimately ends up being that it is prettier and now you don't necessarily have to do it with just sound. You know
Sure.
what I mean? It's just something that I think that you should think about when you approach building it, like you put all this time in,
Mhm.
take that shot, hunt, try to win on Amazon, and if you don't, Like, don't beat yourself up. There just isn't a place for it.
Sure.
And take your skill set and find another thing inside that chiropractic office that is a problem that you can solve
Sure.
for, I don't know how many clinics there are in the country, probably like 10,000, you know what I mean? How many chiropractors?
So I think that the numbers that we got from is chiropractors. I think there's like 60,000 chiropractors in the US. And that's obviously like, you don't know if that's exact, but that's the number we use.
Right. But I'm saying like that alone then becomes sort of your core audience for a product that you develop
Sure.
that solves a problem inside there that everybody sort of deals with, which and again, I'm like not only saying that they could also be your core consumer
Yeah.
for this product, right? So I think you have those two things that are really worth taking that shot.
And I appreciate that. So I'll actually like continue the answer of kind of what you asked of where it's at. The plan was before kind of pitching to you, I was going to pre-sell it via Kickstarter, right? Let's see what the market says. And I think the idea is, you look with a simple, basic, just minute, seconds, start, stop, right? Basic level, but then you go a robust version, you go longer time. And then the biggest one I want to do is actually want to do a wall clock version where it's not just minutes and seconds and hours, it's days, weeks, months, right? So like everybody bases their life around time. And I want to be able to like, we're going on vacation 2 weeks, set it for 2 weeks and watch it go around. So I have ideas for other iterations of this version. So I was going to start simple, go to Kickstarter, pre-sell it, see what the interest was. It either funds or it doesn't, right? If it funds, then we develop that as well as the other versions. And then we start going to market and go to Amazon, things like that. And I think that's going to happen regardless if we have a relationship or not. And I think that's still the plan because, you just work on different things. You got to swing at pitches, right? I think that's just in life. You got to take opportunities and swing. You don't always get a hit. You don't always get a double or home run, but consistent swings at different opportunities adds up at the end of the game.
Yeah. And again, I think it's, very well said, you know what I mean? As a man that's on a mission, you know what I mean? Who's out here furthering his mind, developing himself and getting better as a person and an entrepreneur and someone building a life. But I think with this type of project too, like you should know quickly, get out there and test that thing and with the Kickstarter, get it on Amazon, let it see, just give it a shot, and try to get there. What questions you got for me?
So first question is business question. So, I've been fortunate to run a lot of businesses and I believe that your people and your employees are the heart of the business. It's what generates, everything. And I also believe that revenue and cash flow is the lifeblood, right? And so they work hand in hand. If you have a weak heart or if you have a bad heart, cash flow doesn't run, right? And if you don't have enough cash flow, the heart can't survive. The question is, as you're building a business and you're starting to see success and you're starting to generate revenue, what is your personal criteria on deciding to increase overhead and sacrifice cash flow to build the team?
Yeah, look, I think, if your business isn't generating revenue and cash flow, the people, these amazing people can't do anything for you. You know what I mean?
Correct.
And that always kind of boils back down to the product, right? And the quality of the service. And so then it becomes like you're making your gut choice, right? Because it's a gut choice now, right?
Yeah.
Because you, as the person whose livelihood is the cash flow, you have to now make the choice based off of understanding the opportunity in front of you, understanding like what the value of a new body is to you. And if you sacrifice for 1 year of paying salaries and thinning out cash flow, that it's going to double and triple that cash flow in the coming years. And the problem with that is, that's easy for me to say, right? It's scary.
Yeah.
It's, you know what I mean? It's like, the thing about it is like, God, it's like, even when you have great revenue and you're profitable and it's like, you got to spend the money in order to scale. But when you're not totally sure that money's going to drive the revenue the way that you anticipate, right? Like you're like, well, I think it could double sales and double it's that scary gap is always a leap of faith.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so
I
it's
do.
like it's like, and it doesn't matter. I still deal with it to this day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'm still, a venture studio is an unusual business model, right? Because you outlay a ton of cash as investment and building, and then you have a giant team that's you're operating. So it's like, now, when and where do you choose money to invest in and continue to grow the podcast, your foundation, your community of machinists, right? Like, all these things I had to make along the way and invest in to continue to create further awareness that then drove in new deal flow and amplified existing companies and the success of the stuff that I've already been developing. But throughout that process, every time I'm like, okay, and it's on a higher level, right? It's these big, expensive bodies, you know what I mean? You're going to
Sure.
do, but it's a calculated leap of faith as you invest in scaling, because it's your company, you're basically taking the money that you could be saving, and giving you more runway to operate if, like, sales slow down. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
so I have to tell you, it's like, it's on you. It'll be your gut decision, and it'll always be a leap of faith. But I'm always a big believer in making sure you have clear path to, like, correcting and getting back to sustainability.
Yeah.
And in your case, it's really just, everything comes back to just you and your secretary. You know what I'm saying? Like, and maybe a tech, right? Whatever it may be. Like, you always know what your leanest of your business is.
Yeah.
And I look at it in sort of a similar way. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and even at this level, where you never stop looking at it like that either. Because
Yeah.
it's like, even when you have plenty of capital saved, you just never want to, like, burn capital for no reason on
Yeah.
your business. I don't
Yeah.
care who you are. It's like,
Yeah.
companies running at a loss, unless it's high growth and you got a big acquisition planned, which is a totally different thing. But for us, we are you're running your practice, and growing your practice is a scary thing. But once you get sustainable, it'll be a lot easier. For me, it's still, I own the machine 100%. It's all my money. So
Sure.
it's like, it's my choice on what I want to do, but it's my win and my loss along the way. And ultimately, I try to be as strategic as possible and thoughtful, and not overly spend to grow, but spend on more of a natural growth trajectory, since my goal is to never sell it, just get better, stronger, faster over time.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Personal question.
Yeah.
Um, I believe that standard operating procedures and systems is the key to reproducible, consistent productivity and success. And so you have your operating manual for life. I want to know, what were the mechanics to actually develop that? Like, how did you actually do that? You just, like, Jerry Maguire it one night and just type it up, like, in the middle of the night? Did you talk to your assistant and have them take notes? Did you hire somebody? Like, how did you actually create that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I would like to tell you I Jerry Maguired it, that I was in the middle of the night, enough's enough. I need to build the rhythm of existence. And the trippiest thing is, I spent a lot of money with a consultancy group to develop it completely.
Sure.
And then it was too complex for anybody to run, including me.
Sure.
Like, that was how crazy it was. But the great Chris Smith from Arrive Consulting, who sold his company and is now a big executive at Grant Thornton, is who helped me develop it. And I hired him initially to help me develop the machine. And as he was really helping me build my process for business creation, there was all these great tools inside of it. And one of them was the rhythm of company, how your company goes through this sort of standard rhythm of meetings that have to happen, and cadences throughout the year, and these constants and variables. And I was just like, man, I need to do that to my life.
Yeah.
And then we set off, and it's very personal, though, right? So now what had happened is, we kind of built it the Ferrari, and then I had to basically bring it down to a go-kart to build it back up to a Ferrari. And for me, it required hiring the right body to run it with me, then getting committed to it, and then slowly optimizing it and changing it over time, right? And where now, it's this incredible system, right? Because it scales beyond, just sort of like just how I run my schedule and my time, but it drifts into, how we run family syncs where the wife and the assistants coordinate Christmas gifts and our strategy for the holidays, and all of these things that usually take time and energy from you are all automated in this beautiful document,
Yeah.
And look, I everyone that I've been talking to that has kind of heard me talk about it and is interested in being a part of it, I just send it to them.
Yeah.
Right. So I will send you mine. Right. And what you'll be able to do is take it and begin to just pull out the names of my chief of staff and executive assistants and all this stuff, and sort of kind of my get up at 4:30 and give thanks, however you want to do it. But it'll be a great framework for you to then basically start to add your own sort of aspects to it and then make it your own rather than starting from scratch. You know what I mean? So would love to do that, especially since you are a true do or dyer and you really truly deserve to operate your life the way that I do, because I believe that one day we'll meet again and you'll be like, man, I'm using the qualitative data. I've been, this year I've gotten up at 5 a.m. 100% of the time and brain trained 94% of the time. You're going to hit me with the data one day, because I really think someone like you could use what I've created and adapt it to really help elevate your life.
I love it, brother, man. I appreciate your time. I appreciate all your knowledge, everything that you're doing for everybody. And so, it's a blessing to be able to do something like this with you. So couldn't thank you enough.
All right. Really great to meet you. And I wish you the best of luck, man. Make it happen.
Time's up.
There it is. Great to meet you. Be good.
Appreciate it, man.
All right.
See ya.
So embarrassing. The gym was getting boring anyway. Besides, there's a better option.
What's up, guys? My name is Josh Sanchez. I am the founder of Native Fit and the inventor of the Native Pack. You can see this now. Native Fit is creating a movement within the health and fitness space on the back of our first product.
Let's face it, gym memberships are costing you double what you pay for Netflix every month, but you use it as often as the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. My math teacher would be so proud. But with the Native Pack, it's a one-time purchase for an all-in-one system.
Not only is the Native Pack an all-in-one resistance training system that fits in a backpack, but it is also eco-friendly.
Josh Sanchez, welcome to the Bill with Rob show. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Rob. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate you.
Hey, look, I love the idea of AKA the wellness warrior, just a man on a mission, to fight for the wellness of those out there across the world, man. Is that what sort of like is your background or your wellness warrior mentality is what led to the concept of the brand name, right? Like what?
Yeah. That's a good question. So the wellness warrior is actually something newer that I'm trying to encompass everything that I'm doing. I found myself gravitating and having affinity more towards just business and entrepreneurship focused on health and wellness. So that name really embodies it. And I feel like we need more warriors out there with what's going on in the current political and economic landscape. We need more wellness warriors. So,
all right, and tell me quickly a quick overview of the product.
Yeah, so quick overview. It's a portable Native Fit, or the Native Pack 2 is a portable fitness product that fits in a backpack. It's an all-in-one system. So, I invented this product to make sure, or to be a substitute or supplement anyone that is an avid gym goer or takes fitness seriously. And I wanted to make sure that every muscle group, every body part was included with the product. So you could get a true resistance training workout.
And then why'd you call it Native?
Man, it kind of evolved. So the tagline now is make anywhere your personal gym. And it used to be make anywhere your native gym. And it was really just, make it your home gym, like make anywhere your home gym, kind of was the feeling behind it. And then, that's basically
and so like, how long have you been doing it, and like, what's sort of the status of like at this stage of where the company's at, as it relates to like growing the company?
Okay, yeah. So we launched. So I launched the company in the middle of the pandemic, probably. I would say October, officially LLC'd it, or incorporated it in October of last year. The concept kind of came through, I would say 3 or 4 years ago, though.
Yep.
And it was really a toss between, one day I had an extra hour of time, and I was like, I really want to go on a hike because it's a beautiful day, but I know I don't generally get as solid as a workout as when I go to my CrossFit box. And the idea was like, why can't I have both? So it started 3 or 4 years ago, and then the pandemic hit, gym shut down, and then on top of the gym shutting down, kettlebells, everything was out of order. Everything was all the supplies were kind of backed up, and so that idea it came. I was like, okay, perfect problem. There's a huge problem. I feel like I'm the guy to solve that problem, and so I went to work, started went from. So I did a crowdfunding campaign to prove concept, and it was real bare bones, like MVP status. And then that became successful. We funded the campaign, which actually took me by surprise because it was so bare bones.
And then have you made and sold products so far?
Yeah. So we have close to 100 sales. So that first crowdfunding campaign, I then had to, develop the product fully. I couldn't find any manufacturers that would just do, small batch I think we did like 65 sales. So I had to do it all by hand. I ordered the supplies. I did everything. I created it. I didn't know how to deal with metal. I didn't know how to deal with the platform is made out of bamboo as well. So it was all new stuff. But as entrepreneurs, you have to wear many hats. And so I stepped up to the challenge, got that first order through, and then we launched another campaign for that first production run. So that's where we're currently at. We funded the secondary campaign, got another handful of orders, and we've got about 500 in the production order. So
okay, great. Yeah, no, I wasn't totally clear on sort of where sort of the status of the product is, right? Because to me, and this is when I look at it, right, and it's I understand it, right? I understand the benefits of resistance band training, right? And the strength and mobility aspect of it, right? And to me, when I think about fitness products, and you kind of talk about like, we build a community, do we have classes that we support it on, whatever it may be, it's kind of fishing for what is the value proposition that we're actually delivering? Because it's like, oh, you could take it up to the top of a mountain. You could climb. You could climb to the top of a mountain and get a band workout in.
Right.
It's the way you're kind of positioning is all of these different sort of aspects of different value props, right? Of what it is, and at the end of the day, in all fitness, it's sort of the value proposition is its output, what it does for you, right? And I think that sort of the uniqueness of band training is always going to be strength with mobility, right? Because it's this higher like mobility, strength with mobility gives longer life to your joints, and it's your system operating better than just building muscle, which gets, in most people try to build muscle with bad structures, and all they are building is amazingly strong compensation that long term is just going to lead to greater pain and a tighter body over time, right? Now, we don't got to get into the technical side of that. I just want to make sure you understand that I know that.
Yes.
And so when I think about like how you position it, I think it starts first with the output of what this can deliver to the consumer, right? It's like how the importance of these, 15 core exercises that will take you 30 minutes a day will deliver this type of strength along with mobility. And here's all the benefits to that, right? So it starts with that output positioning, and then it's this utter and complete convenience,
Mhm.
right? Because what's the deepest value proposition of this product is it bags up and slides right under your bed, right into the closet. Like,
Mhm.
so here's all your options. Like you gotta, have a lot of money to have a home gym, right? And or you gotta like get motivated. The hardest motivation there is on earth is from your house, your apartment to the gym. You know what I mean? It's the darkest, deepest chasm there is for people that don't like that don't love to do it, right?
Mhm.
And so now you have this great output of the ultimate health of being lean and being having great mobility, which is making your entire system healthier. Then you have convenience of it could be anywhere at any time. Then you pull it out of the closet, do it in your living room, take it with you when you travel. It's
Mhm.
like it allows you to be more consistent because you can take it with you anywhere. It can be stored anywhere. So I only say that to there's a lot more value in a more concise way in what you've created that I think you got to lock in on how you like really begin to develop customers, right? And I think you consider like, you know, even if it is like defining what native fit means, right? And putting some sort of like to be native fit means that you're, you know, it's range of motion and strength. It's lean but with muscle, right? It's like this sort of thing that becomes, oh, I want to be that. Then it's like, this is how easy it is. It's 30 minutes and these 20 exercises, these 15 exercises, whatever it is. Because I think that is where you get scale of people willing to try it, as opposed to trying to shift to a Peloton style model, right? Where then you've got to build a tech stack, and now you got to
Mhm.
get, you got to have people on it. It's just such a more expensive sort of way of building and servicing the business and the consumers and the churn and teaching all of that. Now you can accomplish a lot of the same stuff by, having the Wellness Warrior Saturdays live on
Mhm.
Facebook, right? Like, or even doing it for free just for customer acquisition, where you do them each morning, come do it with me and I'll coach you through the 20 and we can do it together type of thing. Like something a little bit like more easy to execute, right? Of building that community and those people to do. But that's just my advice to you
Mhm.
as you think about how you position it. Cause I do think you did, you created something unique that has value, and it's trying to tell a lot of different stories, including that you can take this thing up on top of a mountain and
Right.
and get a workout, and as opposed to it really being the quality of the workout and the convenience of the workout being sort of this core reason of why someone would buy it and the job that they would do for them. But I just wanted to share that with you as from someone that, from my perspective of looking at it. And then of course you got to be super thoughtful as it relates to how much it costs you to make the product and then how much you charge for it, because that's where you end up kind of in this no man's land if it's just, too expensive or to make, and finding the right pricing strategy will be sort of the dance with the devil. Then it's like, how do you acquire one customer at a time? But what questions you got for me?
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate the insight. That helps a lot. So I think that leads into you kind of answered that question in your advice. But if you were to position or if you were to scale, would you go? Would you focus more direct to consumer, or would you focus more on the retail?
Yeah, and look, I think that at this day and age, it's wherever you can get sales, right? Like
Right.
it's to me, the beauty of retail is if it gets put in retail, they're already going into that section looking for some sort of solution, looking for some sort of piece of equipment. And now it's all about capture, compel, convert on your packaging and your story, right? Where across that box, it should be like, all the value prop of like best shape, leanest, like feel the best, pain free, like, whatever. Like that's like, oh, what's that? Then it's like, here's these exercises and why it delivers on that capture, compel, convert. But that revenue is great. That revenue is beautiful if you can get it.
Right.
The same way I think when you have unique fitness products, you're going to always be in a super crowded space. So I think whether it's retail, it's direct to consumer, or Amazon, I think you try to win on all of them and try to see which one really works, because you create the right concept and have the right retail partner. That could be all you need. Right now, your margins are going to get pinched on that, but as long as it's selling through for them, now you have a sustainable business that's selling itself at retail, rather than going through this world of ad buys and Facebook marketing and Instagram marketing and influencer marketing, and hoping that drives conversion, and what you're paying for that, and what your customer acquisition cost is. It's a difficult business when you have a single product, right? Versus like in the bedding industry, the bed in the box, your Caspers and worlds like that, where you basically are selling them one product for the next 8 years.
Right.
It kind of sits in that same sort of zone. So if you could find a retail partner, I think it'd be really huge. So I think you do everything you can to try to do that.
Cool. So basically, just to quick summary, anyways, good as long as you're getting the sales, right?
100%. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
Yeah, it's like, and given the nature of the product, you just got to think like it's more built for being in the right retail space. And I think there's an opportunity to hunt the actual people using it. You'll see all of these different fitness products popping up with influencers showing you what it does, and I think you can win there, of like showing people using the actual product and getting it there, getting them excited about what it could do for them. I mean, there's this one, I don't know if you've been seeing, I can't think of the name, but it's some sort of rowing machine that is like, I mean, it's everywhere I turn, it's like another like, influencer, like, you got to check this out, it's the best, and it's like,
Is it Ergata?
yeah, look, I don't know what it is, but it's at such a level, like, I don't remember. I'm like, I would, I'm not into rowing, and another one is the climber, where it's like, there's a climber one that they're all over, but you see how it gets me to the edge. The climber's like, ooh, maybe I could, like, does that get? But to me, if it would sell me deeper on like some sort of aspect that appealed to me, that I think the mobility and strength aspect of what bands do in a more simple sort of way, I think you could work with DTC. But again, it is clear messaging of what this can do as an output for the person, then how convenient it is, and take it anywhere and never miss a workout again. And this is what you'll look like after 30 days. You know what I mean? Like that's the, to me, it's lean and then showing flexibility. After 30 days, you're touching your toes and you're lean. It's like, okay, that's what I want, right? If you decide to go that route, which, and again, it's a nuanced, you can win in a very competitive space with just a nuanced positioning, but it's got to be super clear and get people to convert to just want to try it. That's all you need. You just got to sell somebody on wanting to try it. And then once you capture them, get them, do as much as you can to keep them committed to it, because then their results will be sharing with their friends, then their family, that create new customers. That's ultimately what you got to do when building that customer base for a product like this.
Yeah.
And your second question, my man, what you got for the life question, man?
Oh, is that the life's question? Because okay, cool. That's so. Well, actually, we had it looks like we have three here, but it says as an investor and operator yourself. Okay, so as an investor operator yourself, is there a method or like a marginal procedure that you have where you don't even go into production unless it gives you 2, 3, 4, 5x return on investment? Cost to make it versus retail cost.
I mean, look, everything's different depending on the type of product it is. But for a product because right now, what does it cost you versus what you sell it for? Like, where are you at on that?
So right now, I make about 2.5.
Right. Yeah. Which is good. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, like, it's really about making sure that you can build a path to sustainability and profitability within that margin based off of the type of product it is. And for you, it is a product that you're going to get one customer at a time. So it's important that you understand how much it costs you to acquire customers, and then make sure that that you have a good margin in there, that does not that the price doesn't, because you're being so greedy with your margin, that you drive customers away. There's sort of a sweet spot in there. But on every business that we do, we really try to push it as high as possible, especially in the beginning, because it's very easy to bring a price down. It's hard to drive it up. And I think, you gotta, really bake that into your financial side of the business. And I know that may not be as much of a position of where your strength comes from, or sort of your knowledge base comes from, but man, just learning how to I need to get 200 people a month to pay this much for it. That'll cover these 4 people that are going to work on it and buy and manage it and get it, whatever it is. There's sort of a matrix in there that you've got to design and develop that sets your goal, that is against that margin. And then I think you take a shot at charging what you think the max for it would be, and try to win with that, and then slowly bring it down and try to find the right sweet spot. But many times, we've launched out with really high margin products that could have been way cheaper, and they worked. And then then we're psyched, right? Now we have all that extra margin to drive into customer acquisition and so much more runway, and our cash flow based off our revenue. So it's always worth trying to push the edge on that.
Awesome. And my last question is, as a serial entrepreneur myself, I feel like I've sacrificed a lot mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, obviously. But you yourself, do you think as you get closer to death, let's say you die of old age, do you see yourself regretting the amount of time, energy you've spent into business, investing overall? And if so, do you have any examples that you could share?
Well, I mean, look, it's almost foreign to me. Even hearing you say it, it's almost funny to me. Number one, I used to have a goal of being a centurion. I always thought I was going to die at 105. I was going to shoot myself into space at 104. Of course, that was before I had kids and a wife. And then I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do that. But recently, I've decided I want to be a super centurion. So I plan on living to 112 as sort of my new goal. But let me just give you context, right? Of being an entrepreneur is extraordinarily difficult, right? But it's only difficult until it's not. And if you keep making it, keep trying and you can't make the progress, and you're not understanding why, and there's some nights you want to quit. You want do I get all of that pain? That's where the spiritual pain and all these. That's when the mental side, the financial side, all it's identity, it's all of these things. That is this rich, deep, dark pain, right? And if you did that, if I did that for another 70 years, you know what I mean? Yes, I would regret it. And yes, I would probably, if I did that, I wouldn't live to 112. I would be dead at 65. And look, I have designed my life completely. I have mastered time. I have mastered energy. I have mastered capacity. Okay. And I've designed balance into my life, right? And I spend 30% of my time working. I launched, 4 companies this year, built 3 other ones that are on the way, launched a podcast, started doing press again, all these podcasts, shot 250 episodes of television. You know what I mean? Like
Let's go.
you know what I mean? I did all of that with 30% of my time by design, right? And then I spent, 15% of that time with my wife, 14% with my kids, small percent on life and other and friends and this other stuff, and 8 to 10% on just my health, with design, with intent, with purpose. And I grew into being extraordinarily good at being balanced and happy and living this amazing, extraordinary life that, guess what? I get to live for the rest of my life until my dying days of 112. So look, if your business is driving you into that state, you just have to know that you need to design your business in a way that you have a pathway to getting you to a balanced, happy state within that business. And you give yourself a time limit to achieve it, or you have to try something else. Right? Because it's the reality of it is if you are trying all these different things and you don't know why and you don't have clarity, it is going to constantly and forever torture you, because you want to fail with intention. You want to know what you've got to do to make it work. And if it doesn't get there and you can't, and you've tried everything, like, then it's time to take all of those lessons and apply it to something else. But look, there is no doubt you'll learn more and more as you grow and get smarter and smarter at learning how to build the plans. But you've got to design the life that you want and create your business, create your idea that will ultimately integrate with that and provide the life and the way that you want to live it. You know what I mean? And you can do that, because there should be no misery on the other side of success. And ultimately, it is truly about living a great life as a process and not as an end game. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
So give
Thanks
it
for
all
sharing
you
that.
got, man. I wish you the absolute best, man. I really, really enjoyed it, and really look forward to seeing you reposition this thing, tighten it up, and turn it into something special, man.
Oh, I will for sure. Thanks again for having me.
All right, be good. All right, that is it for our show today. Can't thank you all for listening and playing a part in it. Thank you to every single entrepreneur that has sent a video to us, and as chose to be on this show and come on and talk strategy. Again, I always say it, I just absolutely love it. Thank you to everyone that listens. You want to get more involved in what we do down here at the Dyrdek machine, become a machinist. If you want to pitch us an idea, you can go to the website and do that. Of course, wherever you listen to this podcast, make sure you like it, subscribe it, be all about it. And again, you anything that you want to do in life, you got to put a vision to it. You really, 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 really got to see the future. Okay? You got to make sure that you create a plan that you can do, and then you got to promise yourself you're going to give it everything you got until it becomes a reality. See it, believe it, do it. Till next time.